Hello and welcome, I am the legendary creative Daniel Zappia, and this is Design School. Welcome back to Design School. This is episode 3, part 2, and this is just a real quick introduction, mainly because it's not essentially needed, but I thought of something that would help all of you who don't have design software. Like an idiot. I thought of this way back before I started design school, and then I just never mentioned it. Go to, and I'll give a link on screen and in the description, Adobe Creative Cloud, and download the free trial if you have not already. If you have already used your free trial, sorry, but if you have not downloaded the free trial of Adobe Cloud yet, Creative Cloud, definitely do it. It'll give you focus on my face. I love this lens, but it's been dropped 3 times. One of them was down a flight of stairs. So its autofocus is kind of crappy. If you have not downloaded the Creative Cloud's free trial yet, definitely do so. It'll give you access, I believe it's 30 days, to Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, After Effects, Premiere, Audition, professional grade products. That way you can get a feel on how they kind of compare to Vegas, which I'm assuming most of you are using. The best point is I work in Illustrator a lot. That's what I'm going to do all my lessons in. I'll go over some Photoshop stuff, mainly work in Illustrator. I will go over like banners and things in Photoshop just so those folks who don't have Illustrator and want to learn a bit eventually can. Once we finish this kind of A to Z on branding, I am going to go back in and do lessons on Photoshop, different techniques in Photoshop, different techniques in Illustrator. I just want to kind of go through one full thing, basically to gauge your guys' interest in me teaching design, essentially. And so far, it's been pretty good. So that's all I really wanted to say. Download the Creative Cloud trial. It requires no credit card information. It just downloads to your computer and essentially a counter starts. Each day the counter goes down. When it hits 0, it basically says your software doesn't work anymore. We're going to jump right back into, I believe I just finished the camera piece of the logo. We're going to build that little frame in this episode. The banner is already done. I'm going to talk about why it's already done. Essentially, at one point I was recording with Lila around and I pushed stop to help her do something, and then I got back on the computer and finished the logo completely and realized I didn't push record again. So if you see pieces like pushed off to the side that are already finished, I didn't cheat. I had to re-record myself creating the logo over again. So that's what we're going to go over today. Enjoy the video. To make this banner, we of course going to be using the Pathfinder tool as well as the Shapes tool. So we drew a rectangle, and now I am showing you basically 2 ways you could do it. One, you could do a rectangle and 2 triangles and try and match the triangle's distance, and that'll create a banner effect, which is fine. You can eyeball it, that's no big deal. I prefer to do a different method, and that is where I use one triangle, I cut out one piece, I duplicate it, select the object, hold Alt, click and drag, that'll make a duplicate. Then I flip the duplicate, and I just simply combine the 2 pieces to create a banner. That way, I know that the triangles are the same distance on each side. Rather than me having to eyeball it, I know they are the exact same distance because it's the same piece, it's just been rotated. And there you have it. We have the banner put together, and we have the name inside, and that's just a placeholder. We're going to eventually add a different type of font. We want something that looks a little old-timey. We're going for that retro look with this logo. I've always wanted to do a retro logo. I haven't done one before. I love the look and style. It's just not something you get requested a lot in my business with the clients that I work with. So we're going to add that to our little stockpile of pieces off to the side. See above it we have the camera. Now we're going to add the banner. If you see there, I'm messing with the kerning. Kerning is the space in between the letters. Easy way to do that in Illustrator is highlight the text and then just hold Alt and right arrow, letters space out. So now we're onto the container. And as I mentioned, earlier in the video, I recorded this piece already, and I pushed stop on the recording, and then I never started it again. So I have that already done. So basically, I have this going at around 500%. Speed, and I'm going to slow it down in just a second, but what I'm doing here is I'm simply building the container using, once again, the Shapes tool and Pathfinder. Very, very simple, very easy to do. I'm also using the white arrow instead of the black arrow, and that allows you to select the little points there, and that allows you to drag just the points out instead of stretching the object itself. So why do you want to grab just the anchor points, the little dots on screen. Grabbing just the anchor points are going to move just the anchor points, and the reason you want to do that is it stretches the object in a more perfect way. If you just select the entire object and stretch it horizontally, that's what it's going to do. It's going to stretch it. It's not going to leave the measurements the same as the above version. And what I'm doing down here is I'm showing you what happens if you stretch it, opposed to just moving the anchor points. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the smaller object from the above section versus the smaller object from the below section. And I'm going to show you the difference in the width. See the difference? So that's the small one where it's perfect, and when I stretch it out, it's actually too long. And the reason you don't want that is because you want it to match. You want it to be almost identical in a sense. You want it to be kind of like a mini-me. You want it to be a mini version of the big one. So you want it to look symmetrical. You want it to look almost the same. So now we're building the bottom piece, the little V there, and the way we do that is once again just with triangles and the Pathfinder. You draw out two triangles, you put the big one on top of the little one, and then you subtract. So now that we have, essentially, we have the piece drawn out, as you know, I already finished the logo, so that's the one piece on the right there, and now I'm just going to show you how I lined it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add in all our pieces. We're going to combine the three pieces we just created, and we're going to and we're going to put them together to actually create the logo. So let's start with the camera. So the camera is asymmetrical. The crank shaft on the left-hand side, or the crank object, it makes it stick too far to the left. So if I select the background container and I do object align center, it's going to be technically aligned center, but visually it's going to look like it's too far to the right. I'm using these horizontal rectangles to show you how it's not centered. We're going to zoom in right here so you can see the difference, and see the top one is slightly farther than the bottom one, and they should be the exact distance. So the way we get around that is we make a mask that is a perfect square around the camera. And what this is going to do is this is going to tell Illustrator, hey, put the camera in this box. And when we try to align things with this camera, aligned it to the box around the camera and not the actual size of the camera. Because visually, this will look correct. Technically, mathematically, it will be incorrect. But what we care about is visually. Because who cares if the math is right if it looks weird? Okay, so now that we have the camera centered inside of the container, we can now add the text. And if you see the text on the right compared to the text on the left, what I've done here is I played with the kerning, I played with the size, and I actually even kind of smushed the adventure word a little bit, because I wanted to have that little bit of a smashed look, just so it looks different. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to add the rays. Now they just pop up on screen. And I'll show you how I add the rays in another video. There's a couple of websites I'm going to show you guys that show you tips and tricks on how you get free vector art, so that way you don't have to do it yourself. We want to make sure that the rays actually match the image. So what are we going to do? That's right, we're going to create a mask. We showed you how to I've showed you how to make a mask several times. Essentially, I'm going to create the inside of the container. We want the white space. So once we've created the mask for the rays, it's very simple. We just take the rays, boom, we put it right behind. Now, I didn't want it to be that bright of a color. We also don't know what color it's going to be, but for now, I'm going to make it gray, and then I'm going to drop the opacity, and that way it's very subtle. And that's it. That's how we go from a sketch to a logo. Obviously, this logo isn't finished. We have to go over we have to select the correct colors. We have to select the correct type. That's what we're going into next video. Next video is going to be all about color choice and typography. I hope you found episode 3 part 2 informative and you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please hit that like button, give it a share, comment down below. Intros are returning tomorrow, Friday, for Free Intro Friday. Apologize for not doing it last week. I recorded myself talking about what happened, and it was like a 15-minute video, and I didn't need to go into that. You guys don't need to know that. All you need to know is that things are still good, and enjoy. Free Intro Friday returns tomorrow, I promise. I already have it done. It's already recorded, it's already on the channel, I just gotta push live. But it's not Friday, so it can't be Free Intro Thursday. Sorry. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful Thursday, have a wonderful Friday, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy this bonus clip of me and Delilah going down a slide. We're going down a slide. Thank you all, have a wonderful day. I will see you all next time. Are you hyped for a new intro, but you don't want to wait for a free one? I offer fully custom paid intros as well. Send your idea to the email on screen now, and I'll hit you back with a custom quote. For those of you who prefer to wait for a free one, good luck to you on Monday.